So let's go ahead and right click on source file, go to add, new item. I'm going to name this main. And go ahead and hit add. And again, we're leaving it blank so that we can sort of type it out and refresh it. So what I'm going to include in here is IOStream, so we can do our C in and its C outs. My namespace. And then I'm going to just create my main. And because it's an integer, we need to return something. For now, I'm just going to return 0. So another thing I'd like to include is my header file, sort of, again, tying it all together. And remember, my header file is cartype.h. So let's go ahead and create a car type. So I'm going to name this one my car. And the data type, because I'm accessing my, is car type. And what that does is it's creating an object that links it to this constructor here. So what I need, and the reason I have an error here, is because I need to, inside of my car, I need to pass in some sort of information. So say my car is a 2020, right? And then we'll create another one called car type, and we'll do your car. And your car is a 2021, slightly newer. Now I want to compare these two cars, right? Well, let's go back to our blueprint, right? And right now we only have the one function here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new boolean, and I'm going to call it year is equal, because I want to check whether one year is the same as another, let's say. Now, we're going to need to pass in some sort of information. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use, we need to use the same data type as what we're passing in. It's going to be a car type object. Then I can make another parameter that we're going to pack called date equals. And then I'm going to save this, and we're getting not an error but a warning because we haven't implemented that. And remember, we do all of the implementation inside of our car type class. So inside of here, I'm going to go ahead and just copy this for a second and paste it. Now, the other thing that I need to specify is that we use the boolean here. So I'm going to change the int to a boolean. And then I'm going to jump back over here, and I'm going to copy this, year is equal. Now, notice that we still get an error because inside of here we haven't passed in any sort of parameters, and it's looking for a parameter here. So I can say date equals, essentially we can keep it the same. And we're going to leave our return statement in here because we're going to do the comparison. Now let's go ahead and do an if statement that checks. So if, remember we have year here, and we have this passing in a new year from, and we'll go over this again. But so when I do car type.mycar 2020, it's going to get passed into our constructor here, and then year is going to store it. So if I say if year is the same as date equals dot year. Remember, because it's of car type, we can access anything that's in date equals, so it's accessing year here. We're going to return true. Else we can just return false. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and save that. So let's jump back into main. And what I'm going to say here is I'm going to console output to the screen my car dot year is equal, and then what I want to pass into it is the your car, this your car function. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to end the line here, and then we'll trace through this again, and I'm going to go ahead and I'll leave return 0 in there, and let's hit Control F5, see if we get any errors. Looks like we don't. And we get a 0 here because the 2 years are not the same. So write this on paper and write each one of these out and just trace through them. So let's go through this really quick. Car my type equals 2020. If we go back to our C++ file, remember this is more of a blueprint. We're just creating a blueprint of what we want in there. The actual construction is done in here, right? So car type, integer year. Year is equal to 2020, right? In car type, year is here. We're just returning 2020, right? So that's important because when we look down here, when we go to bool car type, what we're actually looking at here is 2020 the same as date equals, right? In which date equals is just this, again, we're getting it passed in that value of 2020. Is 2020, it's checking one car versus the other times by year. And if so, we return true. If not, we return false. And remember when we're going through main, we have two kinds here. We're passing 2020 in and we're passing 2021. So when we go to a cout statement, we're saying my car, right? Dot, and we're calling the year equals, and we're checking it against your car, which is 2021.